Recently, a King County Superior Court judge declared Initiative 1366 unconstitutional. This is the voter-approved initiative that would require a two-thirds vote to raise taxes. First of all, are you surprised by the court's action? And second, can anything be done?
Well, I'm not really too surprised by it. For a little bit of background, the voters in the state have now passed 6 initiatives to limit the legislature to two-thirds requirement before higher taxes can be approved or voted in. And so this is the second time, at least, that a court has struck it down. This is a Superior Court in King County. Most likely it's going to be appealed to the Washington State Supreme Court. Since they'd ruled on this earlier, a couple of years ago, it's probably going to happen again that they will uphold this ruling and say it's unconstitutional for several reasons. What can we do about it? Well, it's difficult, because we as Republicans introduced House Resolution 4215 recently, and it failed on the floor by a 49-48 vote along party lines. But it takes a two-thirds vote in any event to be able to pass this two-thirds requirement. So we're just going to go forward, and probably not a lot will change, unfortunately, but we're going to keep trying.
There are a couple of initiatives out here that may end up going to the November ballot. One of them would incrementally raise the state's minimum wage by up to $13.50 an hour by the year 2020. What are your concerns about that?
Well, it puts us in a difficult situation. I'm opposed to raising the minimum wage. I think most of us are. We have concerns about that and how it'll affect employment and our economy across the state of Washington. However, there has been an initiative dropped already that raises it to $13.50 an hour. Seattle, Tacoma, and SeaTac, those cities all have different rates of minimum wage, so that causes a problem for a lot of businesses in the state. They want to have a consistent wage across the state because they have to do business in each of those communities. And so here's the conundrum. Some entities, like the restaurants and hotels, think that the legislature should come up with some type of reasonable minimum wage, for example, maybe $11.50 or $12, and phase it in over into the future and have a training wage and so on and so forth, because the polling on minimum wages is rather favorable toward some type of minimum wage. So the question is, should the legislature get ahead of this issue and try to pass some type of compromise bill or not? I doubt we'll get there in a short session like we are this year, so we will probably be facing initiatives this year.
There's another one that would also place a hefty tax on carbon. Are you concerned about that?
Yes, the problem is the unknown. We don't know who it's going to really damage and who it will not. And the purpose behind the initiative, of course, is to curb carbon, which is a valid concern out there. But it goes after a lot of the manufacturers in our state and some of the larger manufacturing companies, but it also includes Washington State University, University of Washington, and it certainly includes any vehicle that might emit some fumes. So the purpose of it, or the impact of it, is to have it start at about $12 per ton of carbon released into the air, and then that dollar amount goes up to $25 over a certain period of time. Some companies will not be able to withstand that additional cost, and they can't pass that on. So it really creates a lot of problems out there. Also, they say it's revenue neutral. I'm talking about the carbon tax, because they will reduce the B&O tax on companies that do pollute. But eventually, in the end, it's still going to cost that company more than what they're going to be able to gain in a reduction of B&O tax. So it's something we have to look at very carefully as we go forward.
During this legislative session, how can citizens get involved?
Well, they certainly can contact their legislators. That's pretty well publicized. The phone numbers, the hotline, by email is a good way to do it, personal letters, phone calls. And we do the very best we can to respond to every constituent and every person who calls.